Hi, my name is Liz. Thank you for joining me. This is the fourth installment of the 5 Elements Yin Yoga practices. So far we have gone through the fire element, working through the heart and the small intestines meridian lines. We have done the wood element, which works through the liver and the gallbladder meridian lines. And we have also done the earth element, which is going through the stomach and the spleen meridian lines. Today we are going to be doing water, and that is focusing on the urinary bladder and the kidney meridian lines. Now there is a video before the first three, just to kind of explain a little bit of what we're doing, why we're doing it, a little bit about the elements and the meridian lines that we're focusing on as we make our way through the practices. So they can be really, really powerful just for your body to begin with. So if that's all it is for you, that is amazing. But then we can also start to dig a little bit deeper, and that is big focus of our yin yoga practice. Getting to know your body, getting to know yourself, and that can just make some massive changes in your life. So as usual, going to be reading from a couple of books, The Power of the 5 Elements, and then going through the meridian lines, mapping them out to begin with. So you've got kind of an idea of where they are in your body. Don't worry too much about remembering where they are. Just that kind of intention of kind of knowing, okay, front side of the body, inner leg or back side of the body, that's all you need to remember. And then the shapes that we go through today are going to be focusing on those areas. So you can sit, you can lay down to begin with, just making sure that you're comfortable, making sure that you can stay awake and stay aware. If it feels comfortable, closing the eyes down. And just take a little moment, settle into your space wherever you are. Just thanking yourself for making the time to be here, for giving yourself this time. Starting to connect into your breathing. So that might be a few breaths in through the nose, out of the mouth. And then when you're ready, starting to breathe in and out of the nose. And just take a little moment. Start to just check in with your body. You might do a little scan from the toes all the way up to the crown of the head. Coming into that awareness of your body, where it is in the space that you're in, and what you can sense, what you can feel. It might be the floor or cushion beneath you, it might be the clothes touching your skin, it might be the air around you, any sounds, just kind of let them come and go. And I'm going to start to map out these meridian lines, starting with the kidney. The kidney meridian begins at the outside of the little toe, but it stays inside the foot until it surfaces in the sole of the foot, just below the third toe, behind the ball of the foot. From there, it follows the sole, makes a circle around the inner ankle, runs through the heel, and comes up the inmost side of the leg and into the tailbone. It follows the spine to the kidney and then branches. One branch leads to the urinary bladder, where it comes back to the surface of the abdomen and up the chest, ending at the clavicle. The other branch touches the liver and diaphragm and moves up through the lungs and throat until it ends beside the root of the tongue. So starting at the outside of the little toe, staying inside the foot until it surfaces in the sole of the foot, just below the third toe, behind the ball of the foot. From there, it follows the sole, makes a circle around the inner ankle, runs through the heel, and comes up the inmost side of the leg and into the tailbone. It follows the spine to the kidney and then branches. One branch heads to the urinary bladder, where it comes back to the surface of the abdomen and up the chest, ending at the clavicle. The other branch touches the liver and diaphragm and moves up through the lungs and throat until it ends beside the root of the tongue. So disharmony here is suggested by gynecological problems, genital disorders, and problems in the kidneys, lungs, and throat. Examples may include impotence, frequent urination, and weakness in the lower limbs. Anxiety and fear may also occur. So we're talking about excessive anxiety and fear, where you're letting it stop you from doing the things in your life that you want to do. Taking a breath in, breath out. Moving to the urinary bladder meridian. The urinary bladder meridian starts at the inner eye and then goes up across the forehead and to the crown. One branch splits here, enters the brain, and then re-emerges at the scapula and runs just inside the line of the scapula, down the spine to the buttocks, where it re-enters the body and runs to the urinary bladder and the kidney. The second branch from the crown flows down the back of the neck and shoulder and runs just outside and parallel to the first branch. This branch continues down the back of the buttocks and legs, circles the outer ankle, runs along the outer edge of the foot, and ends in the small toe. So starting at the inner eye, goes up across the forehead to the crown. One branch splits here, entering the brain, re-emerging at the scapula, and running just inside the line of the scapula. So that's that kind of triangle-shaped kind of bone on your upper back. Or comes down to through the spine to the buttocks, where it re-enters the body and runs to the urinary bladder and the kidney. The second branch from the crown flows down the back of the neck and shoulder and runs just outside and parallel to the first branch. This branch continues down the back of the buttocks and legs, circles the outer ankle, runs along the outer edge of the foot, and ends in the small toe. Signs of disharmony in the urinary bladder may include backaches, headaches, an inability to urinate, mental problems, and disease of the lower limbs. Taking a little moment there, so thinking more kind of the inner part of your leg, and then down the whole back side of your body, and also coming up through the front side, the front of the throat. It's taking a breath in, breath out, and we'll make our way into our first shape, which will be butterfly. Now it can help to sit on a cushion, a folded up blanket, and that can just allow the spine or the pelvis to roll into a bit more of a neutral position. So you can start with a lengthened spine. So we don't want to be kind of beginning from here and then rolling forward from there. So just take a little wriggle on the buttocks. You might need to move any flesh that you've got there away. Lengthening up through the spine. Feet come together, knees drop out to the side. And I didn't say this at the beginning of the class, but making sure if you need props that you've got blocks. So you could use a block underneath the knee there if it feels like there's quite a bit of tension there and it's quite tight through your hips or your inner thighs. So with our yin practice, it's as passive as you can be. So we're not muscling our way through anything. We want to be able to relax into the shape as much as possible. And this then allows us to get into the connective tissue in our body. All right, so feet, bottoms of the feet together, knees dropping out to the side. You may stay sitting up nice and tall with the spine lengthened. The option is to start to fold the upper body forward. So you can see here, inner thigh, you might start to feel something through there, maybe something through the hips and the back. To begin with, just coming to the first kind of point of sensation. Connecting into the breath, breathing nice and smoothly. It can feel nice to bring a block or a cushion to the head so you can kind of rest the head down, or you can even bring the fist to your feet, resting the forehead down to your fists. So breathing nice and smoothly. So the water adaptation type, known as the sage. The sage, the water element archetype, represents the power of the water energy to transform fear and doubt to wisdom and trust, and to promote acceptance of the unknown and the unknowable as part of life. The water adaptation type needs wisdom to navigate the dangers that comprise the inner experience of life for this type. The sage contains knowledge and experience accumulated by past generations and the awareness and patience to understand how to apply these lessons. The trust and faith needed to maintain adaptation arises in the wisdom of the sage. It also represents knowing limits, conserving energy, and understanding when to unleash the immense power stored in the reservoirs of the water energy. So when you think of water, the many kind of forms it can take, the power that it has, thinking of the ocean or rivers that are flowing, the deep, dark, mysterious qualities of water. Just taking a few more moments here, just feeling into where you feel this in the body. Just checking in, relaxing what can relax. And if the breath starts to become short and shallow, maybe come out of the shape a little, connect back into the breath, and then see if the breath guides you that little bit deeper. Taking 3 more breaths. Once you've taken those 3 breaths, just slowly pressing yourself up and out of the shape. And just taking any kind of movement that you need, any kind of stillness that you need. As much as you can. Just keeping the focus in the body. So there may have been lots of sensations as you were in the shape, as there was that kind of lack of movement or not much movement. And then as you come out of the shape, you might add that little bit more movement. There's still going to be things happening in the body. And you're going to come over now to your belly. We're going to make our way into Sphinx. So laying flat on the belly. Let the head rest to one side for a moment. Give the hips a little bit of a wriggle. You might do that windshield wiper motion from side to side. And then letting the legs just come out the back. Let them relax. And then making your way up into Sphinx. So elbows are directly underneath the shoulders to begin with. And then we can modify from this position. Hands can be flat into the floor or bringing them into a prayer-like position. If you feel like this is just a little bit too much, you can take the elbows out that little bit further. That'll take some of that compressive-like feeling out of the lower back. You can also add something like a cushion or a bolster underneath the kind of where your rib cage sits, and that can just as well take some of that compressive-like feeling out through the lower back there. So it's kind of just you being your own teacher, knowing your own body, how much is too much for you. So that compressive-like feeling, it's quite a normal feeling. I don't really like to say the word normal for this shape. And our spines are designed to kind of take that as well. But just knowing your own body. Checking in with your neck, your shoulders, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. If it feels okay, start to let the lower body relax. If you feel you need to, you can squeeze your buttocks muscles, and again, that'll take some of that sensation away through the lower back. Feel free to just experiment with that. Remember, we are here on the mat, we call it a practice, because we are just practicing. Some days it'll feel different, some days you'll have an amazing practice, other days it might not feel so amazing. It's just the way that it is. It's never a wasted practice, is it, Daisy Dog? She's very good at the Yin Yoga. She does about 16 hours of it a day, sometimes in the same position. Finding the breath and just paying attention. That's all you need to do. You breathe, you focus on the breath, focus on the sensations in the body, where they are, how strong they are. Feeling that gentle movement as you breathe in and out. So even though we may be not necessarily moving, there is still a little bit of movement as we breathe. The sage has the patience and wisdom to know when to pull back and conserve, achieve stillness and quiet, as well as the knowledge to draw from reserves without draining them. The sage brings the mysteries of life into light, sharing insights and knowledge to help others live more fulfilled lives. The sage knows that seeds planted can take a long time to germinate, and that patience is an absolute necessity. The intelligence of the sage makes the water element type a keen observer, clever, wise, possessing street smarts, while understanding the complexity of life, its paradoxes and mysteries. Because water types need to learn the ropes and devise solutions, they are always on a quest for knowledge and information. Taking a couple more moments here. You might even like to visualize these meridian lines that run through our system as rivers, energetic rivers flowing. And we can get that stagnation through the system, through that line or that river. And that's when we start to find disharmony in our system, in our mind. Use these practices with the intention. Your intention is a really powerful thing of starting to clear these pathways. So clearing that stagnant energy out, using the breath. Take 3 more breaths. Slowly, just doing whatever you feel you need to do. So it is can be quite a strong sensation through that lower back area. It may feel nice just to lay down on the belly. You might move the hips around a little. You might want to reverse the curve through the spine, coming down into a child's pose. And then making your way back up. Whew. So our next shape is going to be dragon, with a little bit of an option to add on to that if you'd like to. So just a couple of different variations as we hold the shape. So take it or leave it. So you're going to come onto your hands and knees, and to begin with, your right foot is going to come around the outside of your right hand. Now you can stay here. Ultimately though, we're looking for something happening through the front of that hip. We're also going to get into that inner thigh a little bit and into the sacral region. You're going to take your left knee back just as far as feels okay. If you need something underneath the kneecap, adding a cushion or a blanket just to add a little bit of extra cushion. Now your hands pressing down into the floor. Make sure you've got nice alignment, wrist, elbow, shoulder. And then make sure you're not dumping into the neck. So shoulders away from the ears. You can be on the fists if that feels a little bit better. It can also be on like a yoga block or even coming onto a bolster, just to add a little bit of extra lengthening through the spine. So something happening through here. You may also feel that happening up through that inner part of the leg on the right side, maybe around the outer, and then into that lower back region as well. So remember, we're not trying to muscle our way through it. We're going to need some effort from the upper body. Seeing if though you can let this lower part of your body kind of feel like it's sinking down into the floor. Breathing nice and smoothly. So your option, you can stay in this position if you feel like this is kind of where you'd like to go today. Option 2 is to just heel toe the right foot out just a little, and then come onto the outside edge of the right foot. And again, you might feel that through that kind of inner part of the leg. You can also bring the right hand to the thigh, add a little twist through the spine, pressing firmly into the left hand. So just find whatever works best for you. If it's too strong, pull back just a little. Remembering the breath is the most important thing. The water element represents the energetic reserves that power the activity of the body, enhance a healthy emotional response, and grant courage, willpower, self-actualization, and a deep faith that the world is a safe and supportive place. This faith, like water drawn from an inexhaustible well, comes from the deepest energetic core and contains the knowledge that there are enough reserves to ensure survival and provide the ability to manifest one's unique life path. Intelligence, perseverance, and willpower are just a few of the abilities associated with the robust energy of the water element. When a water element type is adapted, the water energy transforms resignation to power and doubt to knowledge. Take 3 more breaths. Once you've taken those 3 breaths, just slowly pressing back out of the shape. It's always a fun one to come out of. And then just anything that you feel the body needs. And then, to prevent us walking around in circles, we will do the other side. So your left foot comes around the outside of your left hand. Right knee shifts back just until you feel something through the front of that right hip. Find that position with the palms, making sure you're nice and long through the spine. And then just allow yourself to settle into the shape. Not getting too caught up in this side might feel a little different to the other side. Just let that be there. feeling into those sensations. So it may not be comfortable. You may be thinking, oh my Lord. So if you know you can stay, if you know that you can relax into that discomfort, allow yourself to do that. Take an option though if you need to, if you feel like it's too much. And then if you'd like to, heel toe the left foot out, drop the knee out. Option to bring the palm to the thigh, take that little rotation through the spine. The water element stores the memory of who we are and the potential of who we can become. The accumulated experiences stored in the water element enhance survival and adaptation. In a sense, this element contains stories of survival and triumph passed down through the generations that can be used to ensure our own adaptive powers. With any chronic condition, loss of the memory of wellness complicates recovery. Deep in the pools of the water energy are the renewal and revitalization needed to recover wellness. Deep within the brain lies potential for change, knowledge, and wisdom. Water personalities can range from, thank you Daisy, gregarious and powerful to serious, intellectual, and quietly observant. Some water types manifest bravado and risk-taking, while others are cautious and measured. Underlying all the many different personalities and behaviours of the water types are issues about maintaining vitality and reserves and accepting the unknowns in life. Taking 3 more breaths. And then slowly coming up and out. So staying connected into the breath. So there may be lots of things happening outside, there may be dogs barking, but we kind of just let that be there. It's remembering that there's no failed practices. It's always just kind of happening as it should. So we're going to go into one last shape for the kidney and the urinary bladder line. So remembering that we can either kind of stretch it out, so think about opening up, so you might open through the front side of the body, which we're about to do, and then closing it over as well, so closing that gap, which we're about to do through the back side of the body. So we're going to come into saddle. So it can feel nice to have something behind your back, like a bolster or a cushion, or even a rolled up towel can be enough sometimes. So your knees are bent and you bring your hips in between your feet. Option is to have one leg out. So this takes a little bit of pressure off the thighs and a little bit of pressure off the lower back as well. So you can stay in this seated position. You might be feeling something through the front leg or even through that inner part of your leg. If you'd like to, you can start to roll the upper body back either to the bolster. If you've got the space and you want to come all the way down to the floor, please do. You might find as you hold it for a little bit of time, you can create that little bit of extra space, and you can kind of work your way to the floor if that's within your practice. Another option is to start in this light position. So I don't really know what to call this. I think it's called deer. And then start to roll back. And you're going to kind of feel that possibly down from the groin area into that inner part of the leg that's on the, we'll say the outside. And then I will get you to swap over if you are doing just one side at a time. So just making your way into the shape, taking your time. I'm just going to go with a bolster underneath the spine today. So it kind of sounds like, how can I relax in this position? So remember, we're going into a spot where we can relax, so we're not muscling our way through it. We're not wanting to put the body into a position that's, it's not ready for, or, it just doesn't want to do today. And then take that moment, connect into the breath. See if you can let the body start to relax bit by bit. So I'm just going to go through a bit of a list of abilities that a water type archetype would possess if they were in harmony. Wisdom and experience to know what is to be done. Seeks information, knowledge, looks for teachers. Courage and determination. Tremendous reserves to draw on. Indomitable will and intelligence to succeed and survive. Comes from a position of strength. Keeps things in perspective. Reassurance that all will work out. Problems will end soon. Quietly relentless in getting to a solution. Adaptability in dangerous situations. Keenly perceptive of risks and dangers. Careful, cautious, elusive. Powers forward with persistence and diligence. Tests the waters to assess situations. Confident, knows limits of what can be handled in stressful situations. Flexibility to change course if obstacles are too great. Just allowing yourself to experience this position, experience the sensations. Spend a few more moments here, taking 3 more breaths. And slowly, using your next inhale, it's coming up and out. And I do realise I did not get you to change sides, so I do apologise. Hopefully you change sides. If not, maybe pause it, spend a little bit more time there. And starting now to make your way into your final resting position. So you can be seated, you can be laying down on your back, making sure that you've got some support underneath your knees. I do apologize again, it's kind of a bit of a habit I have of not doing that. All right, so getting comfortable. So before we go into kind of a bit more relaxation, it's going to go through a list of things that anyone can do or start to kind of implement into their life to bring yourself back into balance. So you think sometimes like we might be like, I need to take this drug or take that supplement or do this exercise. Sometimes it's just stripping it all back and being really, really simple with what you're doing. So sometimes it's not about what you're doing, it's more about what you're maybe not doing. Conserve energy. Meditate or do relaxation exercises regularly. Establish quiet time. Seek reassurance. Determination and will. Keep learning. Trust and faith. Protect the kidney energy. Manageability. And then having a fighting spirit. So choosing courage over fear. So fear is necessary in our life. It stops us from doing stupid things like walking off a cliff or driving off a bridge. But it can also stop you from doing the things that you're meant to be doing or that you want to achieve in your life. And quite often that fear is something that's created in the mind. So we can take little steps of choosing courage, doing things that make you uncomfortable, and that in itself can start to strengthen these energies in your system. It's not just for the water adapted types, it's for everyone. So just letting the body now relax down into the floor, letting go of that need to focus on the breath. That will happen naturally. Coming out whenever you feel like you naturally want to. So you can pause it or just continue to lay down, let the body, let the mind rest. If you feel ready, starting to wriggle the fingers, the toes, adding some gentle movement into your body. And then coming to a seated position with the eyes either closed or coming into a soft gaze. Taking a moment to thank yourself for making the time to come to the mat today to practice. Thank you for practicing with me. And just remembering how much power you have over your whole system. So a lot of the time it's how we perceive what is happening to us, and you can choose how to do that. It all starts up in here with your mind. Thank you very much. We have one more element to go through. I hope you've been enjoying them. If you have, please give it a like, hit the subscribe button, and that will help more people find these sessions. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day or evening, and I will see you next time.